Hello bearded bee people, welcome back to Random Friday Inspections. Today I'm going to get into this one. It's July 31st. Just to give you a frame of reference, this box was added, I don't know, a couple weeks ago probably. It looks to be full, but I haven't popped the inner cover off yet. So I don't know how deep we'll get into it. It depends on what I see when I open this up. Show you what's going on up here. Pretty full, not completely full. I'm probably just going to checker some frames in up top. Hope to see that the queen has been paying this top box some attention. Just because you see workers up there doesn't mean the queen has laid it up. Dry, had a little bit of pollen. I know you're kind of in the shadow, but the camera gets too hot when it's sitting directly in the sun, so I'll try to figure out a better method of keeping the camera cool, but for now you're going to have to sit in the shadow, so just trust me that there's bee bread going all throughout here. This is the outer frame, so not a surprise that it's not fully covered with bees. Completely blank. I'll set it out because I'll probably end up checkering it in somewhere toward the center. Looks like they're just getting started on this frame. Just starting to build out the cells. No eggs, no nectar, no queen. Probably push this one all the way to the edge. For now, anyway. Alright, so the queen has been up here. This is a heavy frame. It's got nectar on all of the corners and some bee bread toward the bottom. But there are eggs and young larvae all throughout this side of this frame. And there's the queen. I hope you can see that. Come on, focus. She's beautiful. How are you supposed to appreciate the beauty if it's out of focus? Alright, so whatever. The queen is in the top box, which is good news. Make sure she's not on the corner of the frame before I put it back so that I'm certain I'm not going to pinch her. Alright. Cool. Alright, so normally on a double deep or a double hive or triple in any, normally on a hive that's more than one level, if I know that I'm going to go through the entire box or the entire hive frame by frame, I'm going to take off the top and set it off to the side, then go through the bottom, replace the top, and go through that. But seeing as I saw that there were some frames that were being neglected up here, that lessened my need to go through stuff down here. They probably don't feel cramped. They're still building up. The swarm tendency is not high at this point. I'm not going to say that they certainly won't swarm, because sometimes they will, even with room to expand, but that's just the bees being enigmatic and difficult to figure out. But in this particular case, I think, like I said, I'm going to checker in these blank frames and the ones that are being neglected, and hopefully next time I get into it, they will have started to pay attention to those, and at that point I will probably go through the entire hive and add a third box. So let's see how much she's done up here. checker in those other frames, and move on. I don't like to do more than is necessary. All throughout eggs and larvae. There's some capped brood, that's a couple pieces of capped brood. Same situation here. Eggs and young larvae, capped brood on the top and around the edge here. So that's good. Brood, brood, brood. Same thing here. You see those little white worms in those cells. Those are bee larvae. They get smaller as you go further out from the center, bigger and bigger as you go closer and closer to the center. That's a sign of a good laying pattern. That means she's laying it up as she should in kind of a rainbow pattern. And when this frame is fully capped, it'll look beautiful. Some people might disagree with me and say a frame of capped honey, but in my opinion, there's nothing more beautiful than a solid frame of capped worker brood. That's the stuff that gets me excited. Speaking of that, this is a beautiful sight. That is a solid looking frame. On both sides. Beautiful. And then here we're getting back into the neglected frames. So this one looks like it's being treated as a food frame. They're filling it up with nectar. So I'm going to move this one to the outside. There's a completely blank one right here that once again I'm going to set out of the box. Figure out how heavy this frame is. This looks empty. Empty-ish. There's food there. Okay, so food, brood, blank, brood, brood, blank, brood, brood, food. All right. So if you get into a hive that's doing well and has some frames that they've neglected in the top box, make sure to checker those in as long as there's enough bees to cover all the frames that you're spreading them across. And yeah, I'm gonna get back, like I said, get back into it in another 10 days or so, and hopefully they'll be paying attention to all those frames and it'll be time to add another box. So tune in next week for another random Friday inspection, and get out and have some fun with your bees.